Imagine the North American continent in 1491. Modern borders don't exist yet, leaving a vast, interconnected landscape of deserts, mountains, and dense forests. While it's tempting to view this as an empty, uniform wilderness, that image ignores the complexity already built into the land. In reality, hundreds of distinct nations populated this space. Each functioned as its own political power, with unique languages, specific traditions, and established territories. These societies didn't look different by accident. Across the continent, each group was building a specific way of life, political, social, and economic, based on its direct interactions with the environment. To understand how American history truly begins, we have to follow how these diverse cultures grew directly from the soil and resources of the regions they called home. In the American Southwest, the Pueblo peoples faced a landscape defined by extreme heat and aridity. Survival here required more than just hunting and gathering. These ancient corn cobs, found in stone grinding troughs, represent a massive technological shift. The northward spread of maize cultivation from Mexico meant that instead of moving to find food, these people could grow it in place. This reliable caloric surplus changed everything. It allowed for dense, concentrated populations and the development of a complex economy that no longer relied on a nomadic search for resources. With a stable food supply, the Pueblo invested their labor into massive engineering projects. They constructed these permanent, multi-story stone apartments carved directly into the alcoves of desert cliffs. By mastering agriculture in a dry climate, they transformed a region of scarcity into a center of highly structured, permanent society. Contrast that with the Great Basin and the Great Plains. Here, the soil and lack of water made the large-scale farming seen in the Southwest almost impossible. Because they couldn't rely on crops, the societies here adapted by remaining mobile. They structured their entire culture around the ability to move quickly across the flat expanse to track seasonal resources. This mobility allowed them to follow the massive bison herds. The bison became the cornerstone of their economy, providing not just food, but the materials for clothing, portable shelters, and tools. For plains societies, moving wasn't a sign of a simpler culture. It was a highly efficient economic strategy tailored to the specific demands of the open grasslands. In the Northeast, the environment offered a different kind of opportunity: thick forests, navigable rivers, and fertile land. The abundance here allowed for a mixed economy. These nations could grow staple crops like corn and beans while simultaneously hunting and fishing in the surrounding woods and waters. This environmental wealth supported large-scale infrastructure. Using the endless supply of local timber, nations like the Iroquois built these massive longhouses designed to shelter dozens of people in permanent, year-round settlements. As these permanent villages grew and their populations increased, neighboring groups found themselves living in closer proximity. This created a new need for organized diplomacy to manage shared borders and resources. We can see that diplomatic effort in this beaded wampum belt. The figures holding hands aren't just art. They are a physical record of a sophisticated political alliance used to bind different nations together. By utilizing the natural bounty of the woods, these societies built the stability needed to move beyond survival and create complex multinational confederacies like the Iroquois League. This pattern of adapting to the land appears everywhere. Along the Mississippi, river environments allowed for the construction of massive earthworks and centralized trade hubs that linked the interior of the continent. In the Pacific Northwest, the localized abundance of cedar forests and ocean fishing allowed for some of the most affluent permanent settlements on the continent. By 1491, North America was a dense map of societies that were defined not by chance, but by their strategic mastery of the environment. This means that when European colonists arrived in the 1500s and 1600s, they weren't walking into an empty space. They were walking into a continent governed by established powers, political actors already prepared to negotiate, trade, and resist based on regional dynamics they had perfected. Seeing the sheer diversity and environmental expertise of these pre-contact societies is the necessary first step to understanding the real history of North America.